Linda, the only thing that would make it better is if Marty was sitting behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We couldn't see him either.
That's great.
Or we could see him, maybe.
Maybe.
That would be kind of creepy.
I'll have to have John bring one of his lights on a stand and put behind me.
There
In front of
go.
you.
For all we know, it could be a cardboard poster, you know?
I have one of those cutout things of Spider-Man. Maybe I should send him up.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
I'm
Okay,
Jimmy
Michelle,
Lisa.
we good? I have 6.
Yep, you're good.
I will call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Can I have the roll call, please?
Scott Weaver,
Here.
Matt Rosalowski,
Here.
Heather Paisley.
Here.
Approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
Yes.
Yes.
Any additions, changes, amendments?
None from
Everybody
me.
good?
I'm good.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any citizens, Michelle?
I have no messages.
Okay. Village administrators report, please.
Okay, so I put that in my packet and I try to categorize a little better for you. Hopefully that worked out well. But I do have a few more things I want to add to that list.
Okay.
So I hope you all read the list so you know how hard the service department is working. Okay, because if I don't read it off, I'm afraid you guys, oh yeah, I saw it, but just make sure you read it. Because you may be quizzed. But Vern came to me with a concern about his, when he was off for mandatory quarantine. We took it out of his sick time, and he felt that shouldn't happen because he was not sick. He was sent home. He wanted to work. And the part-time people that don't have sick time, we did take it out of something else, and it went to council and voted on it. And so he wants, and I heard with Vern that he should be, it should not come out of his sick time. And the other portion of that is, I believe the village might be getting more money for COVID. So when that money comes in, I'm hoping, I don't know if it's possible, but I'm hoping that this money that I took out of my streets fund for the quarantine for Liz and Paul, and hopefully for Vern, will come out of COVID money, and my money can go back into my streets fund, is what I'm hoping. So I need a discussion on that. And if we approve that for Vern, we need to send it up to council.
I think personal opinion, yes, I think that he's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should, I don't think it should be out of his sick time. I think we should have paid him out of whatever we can come up with for COVID, but.
Until December 31st of last year, it would have been paid out of COVID money.
Right.
Instead of taking his sick time. So
yeah, I think he's right.
I think he should get his sick time back, and
so do I. We need
and
to
we
make
should just
that.
have to pay him out of something else.
Yep.
Who's gonna motion that?
I will.
I'll second that.
Yeah, Mary Ann, don't ever hesitate to bring stuff like that up.
Don't worry. Are you all voting? How are you voting?
Yes, all ayes.
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much. The other thing that's not on the list is the only things we have left to do at Booker Park, because I said all the things that we were doing, is very small things besides the basketball backboards, which are on back order, and we don't have a time when they're coming in. They're on back order.
Okay.
I keep calling the gentleman, and I will continue to call. but is the grass and seed around where the machine marred up while we were putting in the mulch. We have to put up the swings, we have to set up the seesaw and paint the merry-go-round. Other than the backboards, that's done then. So the weather is just not cooperating. Otherwise, I was all excited to come to service and say, it's done, but the weather didn't cooperate with us right now.
Okay.
The risk management, in my list, I said that we fixed the concrete slab there, which we did. Now this is not for risk management, but one of the things we're working on is filling all those cracks there. But that's actually in a floodway, and it's when it rains, it literally is almost underwater. So we can't do that until it dries out. I have Jeff Warren starting the repairs at the police station tomorrow from the water damage. I contacted 3 companies. Jeff Warren gave me an estimate. He didn't know when he would be able to come in. Another company didn't even quote it, and another company said they were going to quote it and never sent it. So it's almost impossible. I'm having a hard time. So he's starting tomorrow. So
Okay.
The time capsule wall. I talked to Dan, and he said as soon as we get that light off that wall, he can start doing that. I asked him for a quote on something else. Doesn't mean we're doing it, but over on that bridge, if you continue, from that pavilion, you continue south where the walking bridge is, there's another lamp post and a wall, and it has memorial bricks around it. It's got 2 planters in it that have drain holes that are clogged, and the water's coming through and ruining some of those memorial bricks. So I'm getting a quote for him to either a quote for cement to fill that in, because if we want to put flowers on there, I think we would be better off to put a planter on top, not in the wall. I think in the wall is an issue. So he's just giving me a quote. I'll bring it up at another time, but why he was there. And also when Jeff Warren is at the police station, I'm having him quote moving the door. I don't know how familiar you guys are at the police station, but there's a handicap bathroom, and unisex handicap bathroom right there. They want to move the refrigerator around the corner. In order to move the refrigerator around the corner and keep that a handicap bathroom, we have to move the entrance to that bathroom to the other wall. So I'm getting a quote on that. And I'm meeting this week at some point, or talking with Edie about the Spruce Up the Village. We're doing May 20th. And with the kids that I'll volunteer. And we have some ideas about where they can weed. And I'm going to have the service department where they're going to weed, put some mulch down. Hopefully when they're done weeding, they can mulch too. So, and I think that's all I have on for extra on my village administrator report.
Okay, anybody have anything for Mary Ann? Any questions or comments? Nothing? Okay.
No, nothing regarding the report. I'm good, thanks.
Okay, great. Heather, we all good?
Yep, we're good.
All right.
But I hear something I have to tend to. I'll be right back one second.
Well, hold on.
Oh, got it. All right. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Okay. Review of legislation. An ordinance amending section 121.03, Article 12, Section 1A of the Village of Mantua Codified Ordinance concerning the Service Committee. Linda, would you like to?
I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank, so I'm gonna. It was something that Service asked last month. Michelle, help me out here. I'm drawing a blank. You're muted.
It's not in the packet. Okay, let me look for it. I think we.
Sorry.
Oh, service committee duties in the codified. It's just housekeeping to take out. Let me read it as soon as it opens. I will read it to you. Section 121.03, Article 12, Section 1A of the Mantua Codified Ordinances should be enacted to read as followed. Service committee, which will consider the topics of storm sewers, streets, and maintenance of village properties, as well as evaluation per section 2.5 of the employee handbook. Service committee shall consist of 3 members of the council appointed by the president pro tempore, unless otherwise determined by vote of council. So really all it's doing is amending this one little paragraph to take out water and sanitary sewer utilities.
Okay. Okay, fair
So
enough.
if you are interested in recommending that legislation to council, that would be great.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion.
Matthew,
Second.
all ayes?
Aye.
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 Thank you. It shall go to
Okay.
council.
Well, that was easy. All right, new business, Canada Road repairs.
I got 2 quotes. I sent it out to 3 people. I got one from Todd's Land Paving and Excavating and one from Perrin Asphalt and Concrete.
Okay.
Todd's comes in at $47,970, and he's going to level the road, build up a curb. I thought he said by Jenny's, but build up a curb. He's going to make sure there's berms. And then the Perrin Asphalt, they quoted something different, something that we didn't ask for. They felt that we don't need berms. They don't want to
They're just gonna overlay.
Yeah, they don't want to grate the road at all. They just want to overlay. Looks like 2 inches of pavement, and then add another ½ inch on top of that. And so that's not what we asked for. I don't believe that's what we want, because there's some parts of that road that we need. But
Yeah.
that comes in at 42.3, and then Roniak didn't quote it.
Really, they didn't?
No.
Okay.
Where Todd's gonna take it, he's gonna grind it down and rebuild the base.
Yeah.
Right.
In his quote.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And I think we need that. I mean, I think
yes.
that road's in dire straits. I mean, that needs to be done. Has the county replaced that culvert yet?
No,
I haven't been down there in a while.
no, not yet.
No? Okay.
So if you guys are fine with Mary Ann going with Todd Lamb's quote, because it is
That's what we
addressing,
asked for.
it's what we asked for, then she can get council's permission. If you guys, it's not going to require legislation, I don't think. I think it can be done by motion, if I'm not mistaken. But you guys still need to move it forward that you're backing Mary Ann with this quote.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, quote, because it's not a bid, it's a quote.
It's a quote. Right.
Is that correct,
I
Michelle?
will,
Michelle, unmute.
Lost my Zoom window. Yes, it's under 50, so you can just approve it by motion and go forth.
Okay.
all right. Is everyone in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let Mary Ann kick it up to council and.
Yep, just do us a favor and send us a copy of that quote. So,
Yeah.
Which one?
It should be in the council packet this month.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you said we don't need a vote. They just need to say they're going to send it up. Is that what?
Or we need to make a
No,
motion.
we don't make a motion to send it up to council. And at council, it'll be approved by motion.
Okay.
So Heather made the motion and somebody needs to
I
second.
will second it.
All ayes.
All ayes.
aye.
Aye. Okay, well, that's good news. It was a little less than expected. All right, Booker Park.
Actually, it's a
pardon me.
little more. It's a little more than he had quoted last September if we could have done it then.
Asphalt prices
Wow.
went up.
That's totally understandable.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
went up about $1 a ton or whatever, however they sell that stuff.
Right. Okay. All right, Bookard Park Phase 2 still needs to be completed.
I already talked about that, and unless there's
Yep.
something else that we need to talk about.
Mm-mm. What do you have a timeline? If we had good weather, what do you think? Ballpark, couple
We
weeks?
only need, well, I don't know how long it will take the grass to grow in, but we only need like a half a day of work for the swing sets and the painting. And I would have to estimate maybe another day or so, depending how many people are on it, to seed it,
Okay.
So I was hoping to have it done. I thought, between Monday and today, I think we could have gotten it done if it was sunshiny and warm. And
it doesn't sound like the week's going to cooperate either.
no.
It sounds like it's on and off all week. So.
Right. And then we're running into a crunch. Oh, there was something else I wanted to bring up. We're running into a crunch with, Memorial Day coming up. We're trying to get all those flags and baskets down, and, but one of the things is Dave Akerley was telling me, because I was taking a bunch of notes, that the baskets that we're putting up are called weekender baskets, and they're big. And as the summer goes on and the plants are growing more, you can't, if you get a really hot weekend and you don't send somebody in to go water them, they will die. Okay. Well, when we went through our budget, all of my overtime was taken out. Okay. And I just wanted to know how to proceed from here, because if I need somebody to come in on the weekend, it's going to be a really hard sell to say, go home early on this day so you can use a few hours on this day,
right,
and not get overtime. So, I mean, and this is something I'm going to be bringing up at the budget workshop too. If you're taking away overtime, then there has to be a plan. I mean, another plan for plowing and for things like this, these flowers and whatnot. Maybe the plan over the winter would be to change people's schedules, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we need to verify. I know that we have no overtime in the 2022 budget, but didn't you and John had put money in there for raises for this year, and the service department at that point, when you set up last year's budget, they were still getting the 7 hours a week alternated between Dave and Vern for being on call. So let's relook at that. There might be.
Maybe they could take it as comp time as overtime. Because that's what they were doing.
Right. But
that might be an option.
Right. So there still might be money in 2021's budget, but we're going to seriously have to look at 2022's, because when Jenny and I had our discussion on wages for different areas, I calculated with Mary Ann the dollar amount for what Dave and Vern actually make, and they're 2,080 hours apiece, and that came to $82,000. And then we were setting up $8,000 in overtime, making it $90,000, and that $8,000 went away when Jenny and I were discussing. So we're going to have.
And we did look at history to see what overtime there was, not counting the water and sewer. So there was overtime with paving and whatnot. I mean, plowing and whatnot. So we did look at that. So it wasn't like a number we just pulled out of the air.
Right.
Okay.
So when you get time, make sure you look over your street budget really closely to see where we can handle being able to plow this year, or have them come in on, plow. We should have money for this year. It's 2022 that's going to need to be addressed. So it's going to be next year.
Okay.
I think we should be all right. Mary Ann, I just happened to think about that tonight, Mary Ann. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I didn't look because we were working so much on 2022, I have
Right.
looked at the end budgets, but I didn't look at all the little lines, and I don't know if those raises were in there. If those raises were figured in there.
Well, Jenny would have been calculating the 7 hours. I'm assuming, I'm not saying she did. I'm assuming that she was accounting for, when she did her budget, the 7 hours that Vern got 1 week and Dave got the other. Okay.
I would have thought so, but they did take it as comp time, so maybe they didn't.
But you still have to pay them. It still has to be in the budget somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
but
if
it could
it's
be in,
comp time.
it could be in time off. Not monetary, you know what I mean? They get paid for it, but they're not there.
But they eventually get paid for it. So it has to be in the budget to pay them at some point.
Well, yeah. So like, let's say you have 4 hours of comp time available to you. So you go home half a day on Friday because you're using your comp time, but had you been there all day, they would have paid you anyway. So it's less money being paid out if they take it as comp time and take it off for regular time.
No, but if
You
they
get less
have,
work out of them.
but if they have 8 hours of comp time and they take a whole day off and they schedule that, they're still going to get paid. So that money has to be in the budget somewhere.
Yeah, it'd be in the it would be in the 2,080 hours.
Right.
Yeah, not an overtime hour.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna dive into that, Mary Ann, and see.
I'll look into the streets budget for 2021.
Okay. See where we stand and if we have to, what we have to do.
Right.
Okay.
That was a good discussion.
Yeah. That. Yeah, that's one of those that'll throw you for a loop, huh? Oh, wait a minute. We don't have any. We have a snowstorm at December 1st. Yeah. Okay. All right. Booker Park Phase 3, approved for 87,000. Approximately funding still needs to be authorized.
Right. So we're still waiting. We got the notice that we were approved. We still haven't gotten the official letter from ODNR for the funding. And that's why we have not gone to, brought it up officially, except to let council know. Once we get the letter, then we'll have to decide how we're going to proceed, have to get our $22,000 that DMRC has pledged to that project, and then CT would start the design.
Okay.
I mean, they're so far behind on their grants, because usually we get our notification in October of last year, and we just got the letter. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Crack sealing. Do we need to have any more discussion over crack sealing?
I didn't think we did, but I can tell you that there's 7.4 miles of road in the village. I can tell you that was at the council meeting. It was said that there was 13, but there's 7.4 miles in the village.
Okay.
I don't know why it was sent back to service. I don't understand that.
I think maybe because people were misunderstanding that we were going to just start crack sealing anything like going out to Canada Road and crack sealing, or Maple Street that is in such dire needs right now, or Franklin Street. And that wasn't the purpose of crack sealing. Crack sealing to go down Elm Street.
So I have the list of roads here I could name off.
Why don't you do that, and then why don't you save that also for council in case it gets brought up again?
Okay.
7 times.
That's why I said, do we need to discuss this anymore? I feel like we've discussed it to death.
Right. Here's what Linda and I came up with. Use that. Orchard, West Prospect to Cemetery Drive to Elm Street on West Prospect. Mm-hmm. Elm, Oak, Bramley, Ambler Lane, Glenwood, Grand Elm, Woodford, Walnut, Main to Harold, Harold between High and Prospect, and Second Street between High and Prospect.
Yeah.
Estimated distance of that combined.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. I don't know what the distance of those roads are. Okay. And I don't, and it said that we would have 3 to 4 miles on an average,
Yeah.
you know, and then you have to take the temperature. So I don't know how, and then that would be a single lane. So you're talking, you know, 3 to 4 miles on a single lane. So you're talking, if you did that 14 miles, it would be 14.8 miles of a single lane we have in the village, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if we can get all of that in, but
Okay.
how I read it off is how I was thinking the order should be.
Okay.
That's a pretty good list of streets though that could use it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah,
It sure
and-
is.
Well,
I had about like 4 or 5 in mind. That's pretty good. There's some there I didn't think of.
Yeah.
Orchard is the only one that is, Orchard was done in 2012. That's the oldest one. The other ones have only been resurfaced since we've had the road levy money from the residents.
Right. Well, Ambler.
Ambler, we did sections of it. Remember down on Ambler? Because it's in and out of the village.
Right. Okay.
So it's
Right.
not all of Ambler. It's
Right. It
our
just,
part of Ambler.
Right.
yes.
Right. Okay.
Well, do we need a motion to kick it back up to council, or what do we have to do?
I don't, well, we can't do it in the summer months. It's too late now. So it has to be scheduled for September in that area there.
Mhm.
So we can even let it, Mary Ann can just give a report and say in the fall, these are the roads we're going to do. It's eligible to use the road levy money if that's available. See how much is tied up on West Franklin between High and Cemetery,
Okay.
and see how much we're going to need for the Franklin Street project too. So we'll send that, and we wouldn't get approval on that one until July of next year, or we wouldn't be able to start any repairs until July of next year on Franklin.
Okay. So
That would give us tax money from July and January or February next year and July again. So say if we get about $75,000 a year, so we'll have a little over $100,000 by next year, unless it's used up on something else. And I don't know, I don't have in front of me exactly how much we have in that fund right now.
okay. So Mary Ann, I hate to put anything else on your plate. I mean, can you roughly ballpark it? Just figure out a mileage for those roads that you listed and see how far we can go. And
Sure.
my opinion, I mean, this is just me. I think that most of us are in agreement that we should do this, that it's going to save us in the long run. So I think as the service committee goes, I think we should move forward with making a plan. Like Linda said, we can't do it till the fall anyway, but I think we should allow Mary Ann to make a plan, have everything ready to go, and then we'll take it to council at the end of summer and say, we need to do this. We need to vote on it. And then we have it ready to go, like shovel ready or spray gun ready. You know what I mean?
I'd even like
ready
to see
roll.
somehow if we could lock down some prices.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Because, you don't want to wait.
Those
And then
prices
have
we
it
got are
price
good till
increase.
then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, the way that prices are going up on everything, you're
That's
right.
true.
We should try to lock something in.
Yeah.
We really should. But I just think we should allow Mary Ann to move forward, make a plan, and then when the time comes, the three of us take it to council and say, we need to do it. We just make our argument
Yeah.
and be done with it. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
I think for the most part, I think everyone's on board. So
Okay.
I
I will do that.
I just don't think we need to beat our head against the wall every month talking about it. So
No.
I think we can handle it and then move it forward when the time comes.
So I'll have a plan by next service meeting.
Okay. Is everyone in agreement or am I like talking crazy?
Nope,
I
100%.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to sound aggressive or anything. I just don't want to beat around the bush and lose our opportunity, you know?
Yeah, and my concern is like, like I said, with the rates increasing because freight is going to be bad coming up. So it's going to have a trickle down effect and we're going to see lots of increases.
Okay. Okay, Marianne, you have our backing. You have the
All
three
right.
of us behind you, so
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. All right.
I
Old
have
business.
some new business before you go to old business.
I'm sorry, we can't see you, so we're not going to allow that.
Okay,
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay, just so you guys are ahead of the curve. CT has submitted to myself and to the county and Mary Ann, and we can share it with you. I mean, it's for all of you to see. We've just had
Okay.
it for a couple days. For the Franklin Street prospect from the western side all the way up to Elm Street for storm sewers and paving.
Now, this is from the dead end, right?
The dead end.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's with us just replacing or repairing storm sewers. And our portion of the paving, and then the county doing from the dead end all the way to Maple, because they're putting in an 8-inch line and they don't want to have an 8-inch line stopping, say, at Elm and having a 4-inch line from Elm to Maple, which has an 8-inch line.
Right.
So they're going to take their portion of water lines and storm sewer lines all the way to Maple. And then
Sanitary sewer. not-
right,
Sanitary. Okay.
sanitary sewer. So they would be paying to just pave a trench, I guess is what you call it, the trench on Franklin from Elm down to Maple. And the total estimated cost is 1 million. I'm not done yet. 85,400. So it's about $86,000. $1,086,000
That was total, not our part.
total. Our part is about 540. And that's just the estimate.
And how much do we think the grant will come in at?
I'm not sure how much of a grant he's asking for at this point. This was just the cost estimate. So we'll be getting more information before the meeting, but it gives you guys time to digest. Mary,
Wow.
you have the spreadsheet.
Wow.
I don't have it with me.
No, you have it at the office that you can send it to service so they can look at it.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that it's,
We kind of asked them to color code it and they didn't. So it's kind of hard to tell what our part is and what their part is. So.
yeah, I need to sit down with my person that understands these things and have him explain to me, because I've been trying. I would have showed it to you. See, here it is.
Yeah,
And
but even looking at it,
I was trying to break it down to us and them,
yeah.
you know, and I got part of it done.
I tried to talk them into that they should write their estimates so the people that are actually reading them understand them. Like color code, with two people are splitting it.
Mayor, are we into 7 figures on that, do you think, because of the length of the run going from the dead end to Maple? Is that the big cost there?
Well, I see my question was, I didn't understand why our portion was higher than Franklin. I'm sorry, not Franklin, West Prospect.
Yeah.
Either section that we did, because they were all seemed to be the same length.
Well,
And-
especially the first section of Prospect, the first phase.
Well,
It
the
was
first
about the
phase,
same one.
first phase was 300 and some, and the second phase was 380 some. So I expected it to be under 400,000.
Yeah,
I thought it might be a little bit more because we are replacing that storm sewer line from Franklin down to Prospect between Tom Aldrich and
right,
those properties there that was never done right. So
Right,
I was
right.
expecting it to be a little more. It's just that I thought it was about $70,000 more than I was thinking in my head. And so, and again, this is an estimate. They always estimate high. I mean, don't forget that Woodard bid on the West Prospect, and they were almost $100,000 under the quote,
Right, right.
or the bid packet price. So, but I mean, council's gonna have to decide if we want to move forward or not. I mean, we might want to scale back and only take it as far as Oak Street. I don't know. We got to see how much money we have. See how they're breaking it up as far as how much is going to be grant, how much is going to be match, how much is going to be loan, and that. So this is the first time we've done a project with another community. So it's going to be kind of a learning curve and going to need some explanation on it.
Right. Okay.
Not going to worry a whole lot about it until we at least have the nod from the commissioners that they want to move forward with,
Yeah.
with at least the pre-app,
Yeah. Okay.
because
Wow.
even if we do the pre-app, we're not locked into doing the project.
Right.
So
And when would we need to do the pre-app?
the pre-app has to be done by the end of May.
Okay. When do the commissioners meet?
Tia is on the commissioner's agenda for next Thursday.
Okay.
They're writing the narrative to send to the commissioners. So
Okay.
with calculations and such.
So we should know something at council, maybe?
I would think
Okay.
so. Jean should be able to give us a report on it at council.
Okay.
Is there a way to have it where our buy-in is like a not to exceed amount so that, even if it escalates later, we're still, in at this amount and that's that. Regardless if they're willing to do more work to get it done and cover that, can you do some kind of a not to exceed?
I don't think anybody's ever asked that, Heather. That's a question to ask.
I do
I'm
not
just
know.
concerned with the joint. If bad scenarios were to happen and costs start escalating, I don't want us to get sucked into that. So I want to see us capped off like here, yes, this is the plan. And, you guys will cover anything beyond this amount or whatever. So not to exceed whatever you want to call it,
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know who we would propose that to. I mean, CT, I guess.
And we'd have to talk with CT and probably back with the commissioners again. Because don't forget, we're only paying for our portion of the work that we're doing. So we're still going to be ultimately responsible for that. And they're going to be ultimately responsible for what their costs are. And so I understand what you're saying. And so we just have to make sure that it's clear to everybody because this is a new time of doing it. Absolutely.
Right.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, well, it's an overrun. So we want to split it 50-50 when it was really all water lines and sanitary lines and it had nothing to do with us.
Or if it was a
That's what's
decision
coming out of our needs list. That's coming out of our surcharge. That's where this is going to get paid from. So.
Right. Yeah, I would just be afraid that they would, decisions would be made without the village having, I mean, things would fall back on the village because somebody else made a decision without notifying us.
Right.
Or without our knowledge, you know,
Right.
or.
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so that's a good question, Heather. That's,
Well, thanks.
She's always
Yeah.
coming up with those good questions.
yeah, that's,
That was on the fly too.
Okay, the next thing is Mary Ann had received a letter. Oh, it's been a few weeks back from a Rob Allen that is mayor of Hockey Sacker. I don't remember, some community in New York City. And he was inquiring about, apparently they are a complainant, is that the correct term? In a lawsuit involving Saint-Gobain. And so he was asking me certain questions, and I told him that we didn't own the plants anymore, and he was asking about a test that should be done on the water. That's the acronym is PFOA. Michelle will have to tell us what that acronym stands for because I don't remember. And we did check with the county. The county says that the EPA has started doing these kind of testings. In 2020, we did get the test results. I did send them to this Rob Allen in New York and gave him the county's contact information since they have the plants now. I also had received, I don't know how one of our residents got a hold of the lawsuit papers on it, but they had questioned me on it. So I responded to them that, you know, we are checking into it. We are on top of it. But thanks, Tim. I don't know how Tim got it, Heather, but that's fine. Because
From another neighbor.
it's all public information. And so, but we're looking into it. We were also, I don't know if we were, Michelle, unmute yourself so I can ask you. This lawsuit was like 28 pages long. I mean, it was long. We were listed in it as a possibility of contamination. And we all know that at some point the EPA came out and Saint-Gobain had to do some kind of remediation. On what they had to do remediation on, I don't know what it involved within their plant, but they had to do that. So, did I explain that right, Michelle? What?
Pretty
No.
close. First of all, it's Hoosick Falls, New York is not the complainant. It was a whistleblower lawsuit where an attorney who worked for Saint-Gobain got fired because he wanted them to look into this contamination with perfluorooctanoic acid. Hoosick Falls had, I guess, a pretty high level of it. And Manaway's name came up because we had one of their plants in not too distant proximity to our aquifer. So there was a possibility that because our situation was similar to this other town that did have contamination, that we might have contamination. But as of last year, I don't know any details about the EPA's order to do remediation there. I think that was well before my time. However, in 2020, the EPA did test one of our wells for this perfluorooctanoic acid, and it was less than 5 parts per trillion, and the action level is 70 parts per trillion. So according to those test results, we don't have the contamination that they experienced. So that's the short answer. Portage County Water Resources is going to test the other 2 wells. They're looking into doing that now after I sent them this information. We would hope, since our 3 wells are all in close proximity, that there'd be no greater chance of contamination in the other 2 wells, but they're going to test them for good measure.
So we're trying to stay on top of it, but from the test results we have, we look good. It
looks
like
it appears. It appears.
What were those numbers again? Those contaminant numbers?
The action number is 70 parts per trillion, and we were less than 5 parts per trillion. And that's just their kind of their baseline. The detectable limit, I think, is probably 5 parts per trillion, and it probably wasn't detectable.
Yeah.
Is my guess. Didn't look into it, but
Sure.
all these other things that they tested, that the EPA tested for, were less than 5, less than 5, less than 5, less than 5. So.
Oh, okay.
So my neighbor had gotten a letter from one of the attorneys talking about it. So I don't know if there will be more letters that people may receive. I don't know. We didn't get one, but
The village has never received the letter from the attorneys. All we received was a letter from this Rob Allen from whatever community in New York.
Hoosick Falls. I think that's what Michelle said, right? Hoosick
Yeah.
Falls.
I call it Hockey Sack Falls, but yeah.
well, there is a Hackensack, New Jersey.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, or Hoboken.
Yeah.
And you said we don't own the plants anymore. We did at some point.
We own the water and sewer plants.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the St. Gobain plant. The way
No,
that
no,
Oh.
not-
okay.
No.
The way the context of the conversation at the time, I was like, we own those plants. How do we do that? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Never mind.
Okay, and the only other thing, just so I bring it to your attention, actually, I should let Scott bring it to your attention. As you know, that DMRC approached Service last month about restrooms at the park. And when we had our discussion, we were saying we have the $87,000 if that grant was approved. We still have $25,000 of phase 2 that we're trying to finish. So right there's over $100,000. And hopefully when we get our paddling grant, that's another 50,000. So we're up to about $170,000 that we would have to earmark from our general fund to pay these projects up front.
Mhm.
I thought you guys made that pretty clear to the DMRC last month when they approached us. On Friday, they sent us a design for bathrooms and a cost that they came up with themselves for 4 restrooms in a structure, and wanted us to apply for this grant that's due on June 1st. They said that their builder, I'm trying to remember the exact, a contractor that they had spoken to said that this building could be put in for under $40,000. And they are guesstimating that a water and sewer tap in would be $8,000. They also reached out to Jennifer Brown from CT, and my concern is the last time on phase 2, when council approved applying for a grant for them, we used their figures that they came up with and their design because we were in a time crunch, and that's how CT filled out the grant application. When after it was approved, we saw that the layout of what they were proposing to do would have been much, much more expensive. So we had to change it. And we've been working to use the phase 2 money since October so that we don't increase the match that the DMRC had given us, and to utilize as much of the grant funding that was there. And it has taken, since I've been back from vacation, working with Mary Ann and CT to get approval for all these changes, and those being things in the playground and different things. I don't want to have to go through another grant that we've let somebody else tell us what it was going to be, and then it skyrocket somewhere else. We did send this design to Jennifer Brown at CT, who is contracted with the DMRC a lot of times for doing grants for them. She said she had just finished designing a bathrooms at one of the parks in one of the communities where she's at, and she said it was over $100,000. So I'm a little skeptical when we don't have exact figures to be putting those figures on a grant application and not having done our due diligence and a studying it. Plus, we don't have the water and sewer plant, so we have to pay for the water and sewer now. And then to have bathrooms that require someone emptying the trash and cleaning the toilets and sanitizing, that takes money for that too. And not that I don't think bathrooms would be a great idea at some point, but we just, until we know where our funds are going to be with all this COVID stuff that has been happening, I would caution service and council to look at this closely before you guys make a decision. It's ultimately your decision. It's just that I think we need, I mean, if you want to start working on this and plan for it for next year, and they want to have Jennifer Brown come up with some costs for next year's cycle, wonderful. But I just, with us having $150,000 or $170,000 might be earmarked out of our general fund this year, I don't put the village at risk.
We can't do that.
I mean,
I think that was the discussion we tried to have with them last month, was that, I mean, as nice as all this, and I appreciate their gusto, and I appreciate them looking into all that, but they also have to understand that we as the village have had our hands in a lot of stuff on our own that they don't know about. I mean, we have a lot of stuff going on that is going to cost money, that we have to take care of the village, not just the park or not just the trails. We have to take care of the village. It's a different ball game, and I appreciate what they do, but I have a couple of questions. And I think my first question is, why do they have the authority to call Jennifer Brown and ask her to start?
Well, because several years ago, they had contracted with her privately to help them in their grant writing committee.
Okay.
And so she used to, until the COVID, she was attending a lot of their meetings and was working with them more closely. Now, it's my understanding she hadn't spoken with them for months when she got this email recently to start looking at this and start the application. So, I mean, they can contract with her, absolutely. But again, when we did phase 2, if everybody remembers, that they came up with the drawing for the design they wanted, and they came up with the price on the cost estimate and on what it would be. And everyone failed to notice, myself included, that there was no engineering fees on that. And then the debacle that we had last year with getting money to pay for CT's services. So, I mean, it's up to you guys, but again, if you guys want, I think Mary Ann had attached copies of the drawings for you, didn't she?
Yeah.
She did. Now, where were they wanting to put that building?
That wasn't discussed.
Okay. Yeah. And because my thought is too, like, why can't we explore options like adding on to the lodge or using part of the Potato Festival building to add on restrooms if that's what we wanted to do,
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. What location of the building, but then just even building sprawl in the park. There's already 1, 2, 3 buildings down there. So, so that was one of my concerns, in addition to everything else that we had talked about. But
Yeah, I didn't see anything in their plans that they sent us on where the location would be. And I even pulled up the master plan from 2015 and tried to locate it. And again, I've had a very hectic week, dealing with a lot of other things besides just village business, and still trying to get everything done that I feel I need to do for the village as mayor. but I could not find it. Mary Ann finally found the cost estimate in the book for me. I mean, it's just been a very stressful time for me right now on a personal level. So that's where that's at. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware. It's council's decision, not mine. Again, I always appreciate all the hard work that DMRC does for the community and the fundraisers they have. And it's just that I feel our budget is just a little too snug at this moment to make that commitment.
I do too. I am in total agreement with you, Linda.
Yeah, I agree too.
I agree.
Yep, just to kind of finish just some thoughts there. It's a great idea. But just as we go forward, things to think about, we've already discussed some of this stuff. Labor for the custodial work in the bathroom. Understand there's a 3-year plan, but you got to think out past 3 years, because 36 months is nothing. 36 months goes by in the blink of an eye. And before you know that time will be up, and then we'll be revisiting this in 3 months about, or 3 years about how to take care of this. So there's that. We already talked about where's it going to go in the sprawl, how many buildings we're going to have in the park. And what's really important for me is surveillance and getting some type of surveillance on the bathroom and how that ties into the greater picture of, and I hate to say it, but surveillance in the village, like who's going to be watching it and stuff like that.
Exactly.
There's a lot to discuss there, a lot to discuss there.
When this came up, I told Mary Ann, I mean, she and I were talking on the phone about it, and this was before, you guys probably don't even remember this, or you may never have even known it, but a few years back, it was quite a few years back, I was out for a hike one fall night after work. I took off, went down behind the water plant, and I got down to the Eagle Scouts. Eagle Scout had his project. He built these beautiful decks back there, one up on the hill overlooking the river, one down on the other side of the trail looking over the marsh. And I got down there and they were destroyed. The handrails were destroyed. And I stood there in amazement that somebody would have done this back in the woods. And I turned around, I ran all the way to the police station, and Kenny was on duty, Kenny Justice. And I told him what was going on. And I said, you got to go look at it. They ended up catching the kids who did it. But I told Mary Ann, I've been thinking about this all weekend about those bathrooms. Yeah. And I can just see our service department be down there every single morning fixing something, I mean, just the vandalism it just runs rampant because all this stuff is within walking distance for these kids. It's not like the bathrooms out at the Aurora ball fields where there's no kids to walk to them. The only people that are there are the people who drive there to play a baseball game. You know what I mean? This would be like a target sitting down there without surveillance. You're absolutely right. We need to figure out
it could be a challenge for the kids, like how to keep the water running. You've got the touch toilets, well, I could picture, board and we had a customer with a no touch toilet, flush, whatever it's called, no touch toilet run for a weekend. And his water bill, I believe, was over $1,000 because those things, when they misfunction and they run, they just run at full speed.
I would love to see restrooms down there. We've talked about this for 10 years in parks. I mean, we've talked about it, but it's the logistics.
Yeah, I think it's nice that they present almost a complete project, but we need to have input on it, not just be handed an invoice and say, here, figure out how to pay this, Yeah.
I mean, I think it deserves a lot of discussion because I would love to see it happen at some point, but I just think there needs to be a lot of thought put into it. I agree with Matt. I mean, we need to figure out a way who's going to surveil it.
Yeah, especially after what I heard about election day, tipping over the porta potties and stuff like that. I mean,
that happened today.
No, last year.
Sorry, yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Because I just, the one by Pavilion 1 by Mantaline must have been tipped over recently too, because I just had to call them out to come in and clean out because it was all over inside.
Lovely.
Okay. All right. So are we in agreement with that? We're just gonna let a sleeping dog lie right now? And I would
Yep.
love to talk about it with them. I mean, I would love to, but Heather, you're absolutely right. We need some input. We need to be part of this discussion,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
not, it can't be a last minute thing. This is something that we need to look at and plan for,
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the village now that seem like, like with the murals, what kind of input's being put on that, and what maintenance responsibilities are going to fall on us later on, and
Yeah, that's a good question, because those will need maintenance at some point,
Right now, it's the property owners that own those buildings, that they're the ones that are, right now, that they're the ones that are to maintain those.
and are we going to get a complaint when they don't maintain them?
You're right. Yeah.
Well, then
And
we
it
can't
becomes a
over-
maintenance code, if they don't. So, okay. I thought we were going to end on a happy note. Now we ended on a downer.
Well, when we get to old business, we'll have happy notes.
Do you have any more new business, Linda?
No, I got you the 3 things that I wanted to tell you.
Okay. All right. Okay, old business. Did we get bids for the trash and recycling? Or we all
No,
done with it?
we haven't gone 3 readings yet. So you guys have had a chance 2 months to review it, to see if there's anything that you want to tweak on it. And if you do, then it will be, this month should be the 3rd month. I think this is the 3rd reading, to tweak it. And then we put it out for bid after that. And I think the bidding, we don't do until, let me think here. Probably do it in August, maybe, and give them time to do that, and then we'll hold the hearing of the people that are doing the bid for it. So,
Okay. Okay. Do we have any news on Ohio Edison?
I'm going to tell you about Ohio Edison. I told them that we were going to put it on hold. I did ask them, because I gave them a date on when for them to look for invoices. Back in 2015 in November, we had several of our wreaths that the electrical lines were in need of replacement or repair. And so we had contacted Ohio Edison, and they came back out and rewired and rehooked those up. So I would think that because they did work on that, that they should have information on at least the Christmas wreaths. So they are searching for that. So I have not given up on the Christmas wreaths. As far as the flags and the hanging baskets, they want too much information from us. We don't have the time to do it. So Mr. Clark, after his wife gave him the puppy dog eyes, walked down town through the whole village. AT&T says that we can use any of their lines that don't, or any of their poles that don't have any information on it that says Ohio Edison or First Energy owned. Okay. So John walked down, and he took some poker chips and screwed those into all the poles that he felt that we could use. So last Friday, Mary Ann, Dave, Ray Collier, and John and I started at the north end of town and went to the south end of town and tried to determine which poles because some of the AT&T poles have too much other stuff on them that we still can't use them. But I think we had maybe 9 poles that we could put flags on from the north end of town down to the mini mart. I think.
Okay.
I might be wrong on the numbers. Then we decided that we would put hanging baskets on both of the traffic signal poles. We have one on the west side now. We're going to put one on the east side also.
Okay.
And so as we're walking down and we get down to Jody's market, and we see this pole in her yard, in her drive or parking lot, that used to, from when it used to be a gas station. And so we said, well, we're going to ask her if we can put a flag on that and a hanging basket. And then as they proceeded down, the fluted columns outside the butcher shop, the bar, and Jim Mockney's, the black fluted columns at the entranceways. So we talked to Terry Tongue, and we talked to Mary that manages the bar. They have no problem with us putting clamps on those poles and either having a flag or a hanging basket. You know, we might have to alter them not coming out straight. You know, they might have to turn a little bit so they're not, and be high enough so they're not hitting somebody in the head when they're walking by. So we contacted Jody, Sudger Duds, the Village Tavern, Jim Mockney, and Jeff Benner on Prospect Street, and Dan Tillett for the coffee shop, because they have round ones where the Brown Jug used to be, where the entrance to the old Brown Jug, where they have their little reception room now. The upper
Right.
What's the old brown jug?
Huh? I'm sorry?
What's the old brown jug?
The old Brown Jug used to be the big eatery in town.
Okay.
Back in the day, I used to be a waitress there.
God, that was a long time.
So me, you know, so I'm in the car because I'm not walking with these. So I'm calling all these people, you know, because God knows why they're all on my cell phone, but they are. So they were all on board, just speaking with me about it. I said, well, we're going to come up with a little thing for you guys to read, put your name and address on and sign it, say whether you want a flag or a hanging basket or both. And so we emailed those out today, and I've heard back from 2 so far.
Good.
So
Another cool thing too, maybe.
So the service department has gone through and taken down all the flag holders
Okay.
and all the hanging basket brackets. We did not touch the banner signs because the village did not put the banner signs up. Those
Right.
were school property. And I probably need to address that with the school to let them know that if they want to put banners up, then they're going to have to work through Ohio Edison on their own. I mean, I don't know what else to, you know, or take them down. And I'll let them know they can call AT&T, and AT&T will let them put their banners on those.
Right.
So that was the plan we came up with.
Wow.
And we'll worry about the Christmas wreaths.
Nice work.
Yeah. Nice work, Linda. Tell your husband thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Mary Ann and Dave and Ray Collier were in on it. On you know, it was.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
It's going to take a lot of time to put them up because the property owners are going to want to be part of that decision where they go and how they go, and it's going to be time.
They should.
Right,
Yeah.
and we're not going to be bolding them on any of those poles. They're all going to be on with those, whatever those little ringy things are.
Yeah, those clamps. Okay.
Yeah.
Clamps that you would put
Yeah.
on top and bottom of the flag holder or whatever. So
Good.
so we've got a
Yeah.
plan. Hopefully And so that's one of the top priorities as soon as they get the park done to get the brackets ordered, because now we're gonna have to measure some of the poles because Jody's is just a small one. Oh, you guys can't see me. Just a
Yeah, we
small
can.
one.
Yeah.
And then the traffic light ones are probably pretty big.
Yeah,
Well, then we
are.
got the bank.
Other ones are probably,
What do you have at the bank?
oh, and at the bank where the bump outs come at the end of
The
at the
brick.
end of the building where there's like the window box kind of things.
Yeah.
I talked to Dale Moore and he was gonna run it past Middlefield Bank to see if we could put a flag that he would be responsible. He said didn't think they would go for flower baskets there, but he had no problem with, if the bank approves it, putting their own hangers up on those and having the American Legion put their flags there on the building. He had no problem with that. So the bank was in on that also.
Great.
And,
Good. Well, good. So it
So,
sounds
well,
like we won't be barren.
Right. Hopefully will look as nice as I'm envisioning it looking. And everybody was excited that we were trying to come up with something to jazz ourselves up.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna be lost without flowers hanging there.
Well,
It's just gonna look weird.
Right. And I had one of it was Jim Mockney that said, well, we've got to figure out a way to still have our wreaths because we have the most beautiful wreaths in this area.
We
He
do.
said Aurora has nice wreaths, and his business is over there, but he said ours are just so nice with the little lanterns and stuff in them.
Yeah,
Yep. They're
They
not
are.
cheesy. They're just classic. Yeah, they look
Yes.
good. Great. Well, that's good news. So we
And
did
maybe-
end on a good note.
Yeah, maybe we can get something figured out with Ohio Edison on those by September.
Okay.
Or maybe Michelle will be out of town and for December and
We'll just put them
and ask
up.
for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that I'm just being sarcastic and trying to be funny. I'm not saying we're gonna do that.
Look at her face.
I know. Because Michelle does everything she can to protect this village, so we would never do anything that would upset her.
Oh, yeah.
No, we would never knowingly do anything to upset her.
Knowingly. There you go. Never knowingly. Yes.
Okay. I rarely vacation in December, sorry. You're gonna book me a condo in Florida for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
You
We'll
wanna
put them up in
agree?
November then. Whenever you go, we'll just put them up.
June.
Okay. Christmas in
I
July.
think they're too heavy for anything but a utility pole. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
They're over 50 pounds a piece, so.
Yeah, they're pretty beefy.
And I don't
Yeah.
think that the AT&T poles are, well, they wouldn't have power then because
Right.
Yeah, right. Right.
they got to be on something that has electric. So
Right.
we may be SOL or have to come up with a different plan.
Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe not. If their guys wired them, then they should know they're not a problem.
Right. That's
They
what
don't-
You
well,
would have thought
that's
that they would have made note of that,
Ohio Edison didn't seem to care. I mean, they
that
don't
their
seem-
guys wired them.
No, I don't know. The feeling I got is they could care less whether we put wreaths in our village, just down on their poles.
Oh,
You know what I mean? I think
especially now that we asked.
Yeah. So I think
If we wouldn't have asked, we'd still be having the stuff on there.
that if we really want them up, we ought to start thinking now of other ways to put them up and get them electrified, because I don't want to be here in November trying to figure out how to do that.
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. No, you're right.
Let's
Next time
put,
you guys are
let's put them
downtown.
up on other poles and put candles in them. And we got to change the candles every day.
We don't have that much overtime.
Solar lights.
Or get those candlesticks that have the batteries in them.
Oh, we can make them solar.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, in December.
Yeah. Just wipe the snow off every day. Yeah.
Hey, I think we did pretty good coming up with an idea for the flags and for the hanging baskets. So
Yeah.
You did.
Great job.
Let's just start brainstorming on how we can electrify our wreaths and not
Okay.
put them on Ohio Edison poles.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Are we done? Anything else? Does anybody have anything else?
Mary Ann, did I miss anything?
Not that I know of. Matt usually has 3 things at the end here. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything today. Nothing pressing. No, I'm good.
Okay, Heather.
I'm good.
Michelle, do we have anybody online that has a comment or?
No, Ted was here in case you had questions on the restroom thing, but I think that issue's been
Oh, okay.
delayed.
Okay. All right. Well, Ted, if you're still there, thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Ted.
So, okay. Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Gladly.
Okay.
All ayes?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry
right,
I
folks.
rambled on so long.
Oh, you're fine.
No, it's okay. This was productive. This was good.
Yeah, definitely.
We ended on a good note, so that was great.
I
Yep.
told you we would.
Yeah, thank you.
You had
Good
to
night,
ace up.
everyone. I'll see most of you tomorrow night at
Yes.
safety and then at planning.
Yep. I'll see you then.
Okay, have a good night.